Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another Milsurp Monday video. In today's Milsurp Monday video, we're going to be taking a look at the Polish P64 pistol. The Polish P64 was developed in the 1950s and put into service in Poland in the 1960s. It was also used by a couple of other countries and is actually still in service in some of those countries today. However, a majority of the pistols are now on the US civilian market. You are seeing these guys come in still in very large numbers, sometimes, crates of 30 to 40 of them. We got these in our shop in a crate of about 30. I think it was like 30 or 40 of them. And they were ranging in qualities and ranging in dates. A couple of quirks right off the bat about the Polish P64. What a lot of you guys will hear and notice and everything like that is the absolutely god-awful double action trigger pull. So this double action trigger pull is actually rated about like 25 pounds, which is absolutely ridiculous for a double action trigger pull. However, the single action trigger pull is definitely much lighter, but it's still definitely not a hair trigger. I'd say that single action pull is still about 8 pounds, and you have a lot of over travel after that single action trigger is pulled. However, with these style of kind of comm block pistols, if you will, they were never really, in my opinion, kind of designed with the idea of comfort and, crazy light triggers. This particular Polish P64 is made in 1968. On most of the P64s, at least all the ones that I've seen, will actually have the date of the manufacturer right on the right side of the slide as well. So it is matching serial numbers. The only thing that's not matching on the gun is the actual magazine itself, and then I'm sure the grips aren't matching because those are normally thrown on by an importer as soon as they come in. You'll hear this gun mistakenly referred to as a Polish Makarov, or a PPK clone or a Makarov clone or anything like that. This gun is specific and unique and has its own design completely. So although it was made around the same time that you saw Russia pumping out the Makarov, and a lot of those comm block countries following suit with similar type guns, the Polish P64 is just a P64 by itself. You'll hear a lot of people mistake that quite a bit because it looks the same and it is chambered in the same 9x18 Makarov, which is a very unique cartridge in and of itself. You got to be a little bit careful because it does say 9mm on the side, and that is not 9x19 or 9mm Luger. It is 9x18, 9mm Makarov. Obviously, I work at the shop, so I was able to get quite a bit of a hand select, a personal hand select to the one that I wanted. And the main thing that I paid attention to was the trigger pull. Now, interestingly enough, on the later models, the ones that were like 70, 74, somewhere around there, had a ridiculous pull to the point where I would pull as hard as I possibly could and it just wouldn't move. I mean, it had to have been at least like 35 pounds, and I'm not joking. I thought the pistol was broken. I thought something was wrong. And then I would pick another one up, and it had an extremely, different double action trigger pull. It was still heavy, but it was actually pullable. This would be one of those ones that was actually pullable. So with this one, it's still extremely heavy, but it feels like it's maybe about 20, like maybe 19, 20 pounds. So I don't know if that's because it's been shot. I don't know if that's because it's a earlier model or whatever. However, it still is bearable, which is why I chose the one that I did. Another way that you can tell if you have an older P64, for whatever reason, if it doesn't have the date, the older P64s will have a rounded hammer. The newer ones, I believe the ones that were produced after 1970, had actually like a triangular shaped hammer that made it quite a bit easier to cock the hammer back into single action. This one, although you can do it, it definitely is tough. It does have a safety and a decocker. It will disengage the trigger and it also will decock the hammer. on the side there, and that works out just fine. It's, it's not, again, super ergonomic, but that's kind of to be expected with these pistols. The magazine release is on the bottom, and it does break down exactly like, a lot of the Makarovs and the Walther PPKs out there. You'll pull down on the trigger guard and latch it on the left or right hand side, pull back on the slide and lift up, and everything comes right apart. Let's talk about the reliability that I had at the range. I originally went to the range very first time out, only thing I had available to me in any of the gun shops around me, and I checked like 5 or 6 of them, and this was the only thing, and it ended up being at the shop that I work at, which is this Blazer aluminum case ammunition. And you can see on the back, I'm actually noting how many failures to feeds that I had, and that we'll get into that right now. I fired 100 rounds of this aluminum case ammunition, and I found out this pistol absolutely hates aluminum case ammunition. So I actually had 7 failures to feed. And oddly enough, it always happened when I was gripping hard on the pinky extension on the magazine. And you'll notice in a couple of the videos, it looks a little weird, like I'm doing the fancy pinky up move when I'm shooting it. But when I relieved the tension from the pinky extension and just kind of used the 2 fingers and my thumb, I never got a malfunction. So it was a little bit odd. My guess is that it was having a really hard time trying to feed the ammunition into the gun, and just that tiny little bit of extra pressure, and mix that with the fact that it didn't like the aluminum case, kind of turned it into, a little bit of an issue every time it was the last, 1 or 2 rounds in the magazine. I wanted to give this little pistol another chance because I think it really had, a long track record in service over in different European countries, and everybody else has had, pretty good luck. So I ended up sourcing some tool ammo, 9mm Makarov, just standard steel case stuff. And that actually ran 100%. And that told me right away that it just simply didn't like the aluminum case. I had absolutely no issues. I didn't have to hold it a specific way. I just held it just like normal, and it shot all the steel case just fine. So I was really, really happy with that because I didn't have a gun that was just super ammo picky and had a horrible trigger and wasn't too fun to shoot. Touching on the ammo really quick, 9mm Makarov is not too easy to find anymore. You can definitely find it online sources. It is out there for sure, but you are generally not going to find this stuff in your local gun shop most of the time. Some gun shops will have them. You can get a little bit lucky, but that's kind of the name of the game when you get into an older cartridge like this. The 9mm Makarov is a really cool round, and Hornady actually makes some hollow points for it, which is pretty sweet if you did want to carry your Makarov variant or your P64 here. So it's really cool that they have modern ammunition for it. It is available online, like I said, and my recommendation is either Wolf or Tool Ammo. I think you can find a bunch of that online, and I think it just runs great in all the Comblock style pistols. As far as shootability on the gun, I won't lie to you guys, the recoil is a little bit stout on it. And that's just because of its, kind of smaller size and the fact that it's a thinner metal frame pistol at this size. So you get a lot of that, kind of kickback right in the web, and it really, tends to be a little bit more uncomfortable unless you're wearing gloves. Also, slide bite is really, really easy to get on this guy. If you hold a higher grip, you're probably going to get some slide bite. So I had to hold just a little bit under that kind of beaver tail there, like more lower than I would. Not a huge deal. I just like collecting the pistol, which is why, it's in my Milsurp collection. So I'm not really looking at it at this point as a defensive option. For me, it's just cool to have, and it actually goes really well with my Polish Tantal AK-74 rifle. I think they're a really cool pair to have. Overall, you can find these pistols for literally anywhere from like $250 to $300 right now. So you guys know where I'm going with that. While they're in here, while they're in the country, while they're cheap, pick them up, guys. You never know when they're gonna all of a sudden be gone, and they're gonna go up in value if you care about that stuff. Either way, it's a cool little pistol to have, and that's pretty much gonna wrap up this review. Be sure to click those links down in the description. It'll take you to my Facebook and Instagram account. On my Instagram account, I do daily posts, so it'll allow you guys to stay updated, see updates on different guns that I get into the collection, cool mag dumps, everything like that. So be sure to give those a follow, and also hit that subscribe button, guys. If you enjoy my content, I pretty much post a video every week. If you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell, you won't ever miss out on any of the content that I have coming out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more great videos to come soon.